Tonight, South Australia on the brink of a second wave, the battle to stop the suburban spread of coronavirus.
Immediate shutdowns, limits on gatherings and the plea to work from home. Tough restrictions brought back to keep us safe.
South Australians in their thousands respond to the call to get tested. Huge lines as new stations are opened and hours extended.
How could this happen? The Medi Hotel leak that's now hurt us all, and what's being done to stop it happening again?
And signs of panic once again on our supermarket shelves.
This is Adelaide's 9 News.
Good evening. South Australia is tonight on the brink of a second wave of coronavirus. We have 17 cases of community transmission and there are real fears that number will rise.
And the battle to keep us all safe will once again have an impact on us all, with tough restrictions to be implemented from midnight tonight. We have reporters standing by to bring you the very latest on this unfolding emergency. Rory McLaren begins our coverage.
Tonight, South Australians are collectively holding their breath, many responding to the call to get tested. We are all asking ourselves if this is the beginning of a second wave, as authorities work desperately to hold back the COVID-19 tide.
We are now facing our biggest test to date, but we can and we must rise to this new challenge.
In just 24 hours, the Parafield cluster growing from 3 to 17 people. 15 of those from the one family, including the 80-year-old woman who initially tested positive. All infected because one of them unknowingly carried COVID-19 from the Peppers Medi Hotel on Weymouth Street.
We will throw absolutely everything at this to get on top of the cluster. 2 of the confirmed cases are now in the Royal Adelaide Hospital, the rest sent into hotel quarantine. Others who have come into contact with them have been directed to self-isolate as testing continues.
A large number of families now in quarantine because of those exposures.
Contact tracing experts have been working around the clock and have identified at least 18 suburban locations between November 7 and November 14 at specific times where people could have been exposed to cases from this cluster, either directly or indirectly. It includes major shopping centres, medical, food, even fuel outlets. Schools also forced to shut. A Year 8 Thomas More College student testing positive, cleaners called in.
The teacher ring me, I got scared. I tried to ride the car faster, to pick up my son.
Deep cleaning too at Mawson Lakes primary and preschools. They were closed as a precaution, expert contract tracers finding potential links to the cluster. And late today, the Holy Family Catholic School at Parafield Gardens was shut too. Anglicare's Brompton aged care home also closed. 2 staff who worked there testing positive, which may have exposed vulnerable community members to the virus.
Naturally, we all have a degree of apprehension, but we have been taking precautions. All our staff at the home have been masked.
Other state leaders have wasted no time slamming shut their borders. Now we are a threat. First Western Australia, trapping shattered travellers literally at the last minute. Then Northern Territory, Tasmania and Queensland all followed suit. They're requiring people arriving from SA to quarantine for 14 days, some effective immediately, Queensland from midnight tonight. The ACT advising against non-essential travel here. New South Wales and Victorian leaders watching closely, but the borders remain open for now.
They see these as temporary responses. What's important is these don't get sort of locked in as part of another enduring disruption.
At the Lyell McEwen Hospital, at least 90 staff and patients have been quarantined because the elderly infected woman was treated there. Staff pulled from other hospitals to cover the shortfall. Yatala Prison also impacted because a member of the cluster family works there. Some corrections staff there forced to self-quarantine.
What we are facing is indeed a second wave, but we haven't got the second wave yet. We are in very, very early days.
The size of the Parafield cluster could grow as soon as tomorrow. 9 News understands 167 contacts are being followed up daily by authorities to check for symptoms, while 3 children linked to the family may also be infected.
Rory McLaren, thank you. Tough restrictions will be imposed from midnight tonight, and all South Australians are being asked to take extra precautions, the likes of which we haven't seen for months. Georgia Westgarth, this is a major step backwards for us all.
It is, Brenton, and while these new restrictions will affect us all, businesses will feel the brunt of this, and they already are. The Havelock Hotel here on Hutt Street called 8 staff members this afternoon to tell them they no longer have shifts this weekend. Private functions are being cancelled. The 100-person limit on pubs, clubs and restaurants is already taking its toll. As we face a looming second wave, sweeping restrictions will come into place as of midnight tonight. Our COVID normal thrown into chaos.
It is likely that we will have these directions in place for 2 weeks. Of course, if we can remove them earlier, we certainly will.
The Premier announcing a long list of new or returning rules. Pubs, clubs and restaurants to have a 100-person limit. Private functions capped at 50 and no more stand-up drinking. Management at the Havelock Hotel on Hutt Street forced to call 8 staff and cancel their shifts this weekend.
It's just a struggle for all of us right now. We've got to make a lot of phone calls, lose most likely a lot of business as well.
Recreation and play centres will close, so too gyms from midnight. Some are working around it, moving indoor classes outside, with boot camps still allowed to go ahead.
We've got sessions running tonight as per normal, so we've just encouraged everyone to come in to get another session in, and then we'll have some more information out for them as to where the outdoor sessions that we've got ready to go ahead.
And just as community sports got back into full swing, they've been put on hold.
Community sports fixtures and training temporarily cancelled, and this applies to indoor and outdoor sports, contact and non-contact.
Funerals have been capped at 50 people. Church services only allowed 100 parishioners. And anyone attending a wedding must register with the Communicable Diseases Control Branch, and you can only have 10 people in your home. Masks must be worn by beauty providers and encouraged for clients. People are also being urged to work from home if they can. Wear a mask where social distancing is not possible, like public transport, and avoid unnecessary travel. Georgia Westgarth, 9 News.
South Australians have responded to the outbreak by turning up in their thousands to testing clinics across Adelaide. The rush stretching the state's testing capabilities, with many people queuing for 4 hours and some even turned away.
In the heart of this cluster's hotspot, the lineup began on Kings Road at Parafield Airport this morning, even before SA Health had set up its pop-up testing clinic. Among those getting a swab, a Year 8 student Natalie Conte from nearby Thomas More College, whose classmate tested positive.
I got very stressed out. I started freaking out this morning when I got the message from our school, but there's nothing we can really do about it besides stay safe.
Also in the queue, a Port Adelaide Hungry Jack's worker getting a checkup after her colleague caught the virus.
I don't feel too bad. I'm only here because my work got shut down.
The line at Parafield growing all day as it snaked out along the road and around the corner. Northern residents willing to wait for more than 5 hours in the sun to get tested.
Just making sure that my community's safe and I'm safe and those in my family are safe as well. But yeah, the line situation is ridiculous.
There were similar scenes across the city. At the Repad in Adelaide South, the drive-through clinic was so busy, some drivers had to be diverted to other testing sites. Similar scenes at Aldinga, where motorists were turned away and told to come back tomorrow. At Victoria Park in the city, traffic backed up at Wakefield Road and around onto Bulletin Road, all the way down towards Greenhill Road. 4-hour-long waits too for people to get tested at Hampstead. Lines also at Lower McEwen Hospital, where the first case was detected on Saturday.
We've had an extremely high volume of people through our clinics today. What I think you are seeing is absolutely the commitment of South Australians to get on and get on top of this.
Across Adelaide, South Australians responding in their thousands to health authorities pleased to get tested if they have symptoms or are a close or casual contact of a known case. Testing sites will stay open for an extra 2 hours tonight at Victoria Park, Elizabeth and here at Parafield Airport. But please don't come down this evening. SA Health workers began turning away people at about 4:30 this afternoon because the wait times are so long. It's a similar situation at the Royal Adelaide Hospital and the Lower McEwen, where people have been told to come back and get tested tomorrow. Brenton?
All right, Harvey, thank you for that advice. Let's go straight to Adelaide Airport now. Kate Lamb, we've heard a number of states are closing their borders with us, and already that's caused chaos for travellers.
That's right, and it's been happening now for almost 24 hours, including scenes of utter confusion that's still playing out here at the Adelaide airport tonight. So many people facing uncertainty as one by one the borders were slammed shut.
They were one flight away from travelling freely in WA when these passengers had their trip turned upside down.
Devastating, because she hasn't seen our family in Perth for a year.
Many choosing to skip the flight, pick up their bags and go home.
It was actually for family reasons. As a sick family member, so I was only going for a week.
Others were in the air when the WA border slammed shut, prompting them to jump on the first planes back to Adelaide, a disheartening reality facing those flying interstate today too.
To wake up this morning thinking that we're going home to our family and friends and our home, to be told that we're going to be having to self-isolate in a hotel for 14 days.
Until we know more, we have to assume the worst and prepare accordingly.
The Northern Territory's mandatory quarantine separating Josh Dubois from his partner for longer.
My partner's actually from Ballarat, so she just was allowed to come back to the NT. Haven't seen her for 6 months and now got to quarantine again for 2 weeks before I can see her, so yeah, a bit rough.
Watching all the other states announce something, we're waiting anxiously to hear about Queensland. Just sitting here constantly hitting refresh on the news.
Then this.
This cluster outbreak is of concern. It's not like the cluster outbreaks we've had in Queensland.
Tougher restrictions from midnight, creating a mad rush for those heading to Brisbane who'll still need to self-isolate and be tested for COVID.
I've been here just for a 4-day break, so this is not what I had in mind.
But there was a sigh of relief for those heading to New South Wales.
I've got it in the nick of time probably, but my husband's meant to be coming on Thursday. It's our son's 30th birthday, so we're hoping he'll get in.
Kate Lamb, 9 News.
All of this is happening because one single worker at a Medi hotel in the city unknowingly carried coronavirus out of the quarantine facility home to their family. Officials forced to defend a system they assured us was safe, but public anger is simmering tonight.
It's the Parafield cluster, but confirmation Peppers on Weymouth is the source.
We have tested the 2 people who are security guards from a Medi hotel and the one person that works in the Medi hotel from back of house.
SA Health believes the back house employee contracted COVID non-directly from a surface. Inside, Mustafa Sayan and his family can't believe the outbreak started there.
We have zero contact with the staff. We get cleaning equipment dropped off to us. We've got to do the cleaning of the rooms ourselves, so no one actually enters.
Masks and gloves are on out the front, police and Defence Force taking no risks. Late today, industrial cleaners arriving at the hotel. This was the police commissioner close to 3 weeks ago.
I would urge people not to be overly concerned about returning Australians who are in supervised quarantine who may test positive, because the thing that particularly concerns us is community transmission. I can absolutely assure the South Australian community that the hotel quarantine system in South Australia is as good as anywhere in Australia.
But, like in Melbourne, it's a staff member at a quarantine hotel that has brought the virus into the community, and the anger is white hot.
And I thought that they were mandatory testing these workers here already, but they weren't. Why didn't they do that? I don't understand. I'm just pissed off, I'm sorry, but...
No, you got every right.
I don't get it.
Fair enough.
I just don't get it.
My focus is on getting on top of this cluster as quickly as possible. There's plenty of time to review this afterwards.
All staff in the city's Medi hotels to now undergo compulsory COVID testing.
There's nowhere else in Australia in their Medi hotel system where mandatory testing is being done. It is something that I have strongly raised today with the Chief Medical Officer of Australia.
And all international flights into Adelaide have been cancelled, starting with today's 5 p.m. arrival from Qatar.
All inbound international flights to Adelaide have now been suspended at our request for the remainder of this week. Our priority is ensuring that we have enough Medi hotel capacity to meet any local quarantine requirements.
Now, the Premier, Stephen Marshall, has defended his government's decision to be involved in the repatriation of Australians, but says that the cancellation of all inbound international flights into Adelaide is necessary. Our current capacity in the Medi hotel system here is 1,200, and there is around 1,100 people who are currently occupying them. I've also reached out for comment from the owners of the Peppers Hotel. Given its employee is at the heart of this, it has referred all matters to SA Health. Brenton?
Thank you, Mike. All right. let's now go back to the alert map. This version shows all the shopping, hospitality, food and leisure locations for which SA Health has issued alerts. In this case, they span the 8th of November all the way through until Saturday just gone, the 14th of November. As you can see, there are windows of concern at 15 locations, some of them multiple outlets at the same centres.
What it shows is all of the places where somebody who has been infectious has been, and that's to alert South Australians to have a look at that list. We are updating it as we do more interviews. We'll be updating it, so keep an eye on it.
The alerts include 3 locations at the Hollywood Plaza shopping centre. A person linked to this cluster attended the medical surgery there twice in recent days. They also visited the Star Discount Chemist for a short period in the morning on Saturday and the Woolworths supermarket here last Friday and Saturday. The cluster has been linked also to the even larger Elizabeth City shopping centre and the Harris scarf store there. That window of concern was back on Sunday, the 8th of November.
And there's some very specific public transport alerts too. Contact tracing experts have identified bus services from Salisbury Interchange, as well as services from bus stops in Grenfell Street and near the railway station in the city as being possible risks. They include the 500 and 411 service from Salisbury across a number of mornings, along with the 502 service and GA 1, 2 and 3 buses during several afternoons.
There are so many locations, days and times, and they're changing so fast. So it is so important that South Australians access the very latest. A lot of times, a lot of locations we've just reported there. So it's important we did. If you missed any or you want to check the new information as it comes to hand, please visit the SA Health website's contact tracing page. Now, the COVID cluster has reignited panic buying across Adelaide. Keziah Sullivan is at West Lakes. Keziah, supermarket shelves are being stripped bare.
Yes, Brenton, here at the Westlake Shopping Centre, people have gone straight into panic buying, stocking up on the essentials. In this vision from inside the Woolworths, you can see shelves stripped bare of toilet paper. It's much the same at the Coles as well. We saw shoppers out here in the car park pushing trolleys full of items to their cars. And again, the most popular item was toilet paper. Further north at the North Park Shopping Centre, we saw similar scenes. Again, shelves stripped bare at Woolworths and Coles, with some shoppers captured with numerous packs of toilet paper in their trolleys. At Sefton Plaza, the Foodland has responded early to this panic buying, bringing back limits on popular items, similar to what we saw back in March. Drake's Supermarket says they're also imposing strict limits. This behaviour has some shoppers seeing red. Take a listen.
We went to Costco's and it was already gone, the toilet paper there, and everybody's circling around where the toilet paper was. It was really quite bizarre.
Oh, I think it's terrible. Yeah, shouldn't be happening.
If everybody just takes what they need, there'll be enough to go around.
Authorities are urging South Australians to stay calm, saying there is plenty of stock available and to only buy what you need. Kate.
Keziah, thank you. And all court appearances, either in person or via video link, have been cancelled from Yatala Labor Prison because of the cluster link there. The movement of inmates has also been put on hold. The Courts Administration Authority says it will follow advice from SA Health to ensure the safety of staff and those in custody.
Cricket officials are tonight watching the COVID-19 situation here ahead of next month's first international cricket test against India at Adelaide Oval. Australian Vice-Captain Pat Cummins confident the blockbuster fixture won't be moved interstate.
I'm sure whatever we have to do, we'll find a way. I think if we can fly over to the UK and play in a bubble over there, it shows that we'll find a way, whatever it takes.
It comes as the Adelaide International Tennis Tournament has been moved to Melbourne as Tennis Australia centralises all lead-up tournaments ahead of the Australian Open.
And Warren Treadray has more coming up later in sport. Treaders, a player has joined the coaching ranks at West Lakes.
Yeah, you don't hear this one very often. It's very interesting, but it's the Crows AFLW team, so it does signal what they intend to do post their playing career. We'll tell you who that player is ahead in sport, as well as why one of the Crows' favourite sons has cut ties with the club again. And Cameron Smith etches his name in Augusta history, but still can't win the Masters.
Thanks, Treaders. Well, a huge step forward in securing a vaccine for COVID-19. Next on 9 News, the government's funding pledge to help shore up supplies. Also, protesters disrupt the morning commute for drivers on a busy Adelaide motorway.
Winner takes all in the Origin Decider.
Oh my goodness!
Everything is on the line.
Daniel Topo!
Get ready, Australia, for the biggest and most brutal battle.
You can feel it coming. Oh!
Of them all.
What a climax!
State of Origin, the Decider. Exclusively live, Wednesday on 9.
Inside Cottage 3.
It's like an 18th century asylum.
There are people in there who are suffering.
South Australia's nursing home disgrace. The damning document confirming an outbreak of scabies.
If you've got a loved one in a residential aged care facility, I suggest you go and check on them.
A current affair next.
I thought my teeth were clean, but my dentist said no, there's still plaque. Switch your brush from this to one with a rounded brush head.
Oral-B is rounded to reach between teeth and gums, gently removing plaque for healthier gums. Oral-B, brush like a pro.
As our economy recovers, investing in new skills is more important than ever. Opportunities in health and social care are available now, and skills in defence, construction and technology will play a big part in our future. We need skilled people in all kinds of roles. There are many choices for you to explore, including apprenticeships and shorter courses. Explore your passion. Visit skills.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Australia loves the fiery hot McSpicy. Now, the crispy Schnitzel Burger is back, but only for a limited time. 100% Aussie chicken burgers at Macca's. Now that's too good to keep to yourself.
Here, Dad, we all chipped in.
Thought it was time. Oh, great. How does it clip on?
This year, 5G phones from just $499 can help make gifting more affordable.
Aldi's tender boneless lamb leg is so easy, it's impossible to mess it up. Boneless lamb leg roast, now only $14.99 per kilo. Aldi, good, different.
What's the key to never skipping a beat? And intelligent parking? It's the Nissan Qashqai with Apple CarPlay. The key to it all.
9 News, brought to you by the Nissan Qashqai Midnight Edition. The key to the night.
Taxpayers will shell out more than $1 billion after the federal government today agreed to settle a class action lawsuit over its so-called robo-debt welfare recovery scheme. Labor is demanding a royal commission, but the government still denies it did anything wrong.
A joyous day for 400,000 Australians.
I honestly want to cry. I'm so happy for every single person that has ever had to deal with robo-debt.
And a grim one for the government.
We've been paying the money back, some $700 million already out of $1.2 billion.
As it settles the biggest class action in Australian legal history on an automated debt recovery system that forced welfare recipients to prove they hadn't been overpaid.
Who have lost their jobs, lost homes, lost rent, divorce.
The government agreed to repay $721 million to about 400,000 people in May. Today's settlement also includes a pledge to forego another $398 million in debts and adds $112 million in compensation, bringing the Commonwealth's total costs to $1.2 billion.
As at yesterday, $705 million had been repaid to 405,000 Australians.
The government says that's the end of it.
The Commonwealth has not accepted or admitted any liability in the matter.
On one hand, they say they make no admissions of liability. On the other hand, they're going to pay $1.2 billion.
Bill Shorten led the charge on this, and he is not finished.
Labor will not stop pushing for a royal commission into robo-debt.
The government wanted to focus today on the $1 billion it's investing with pharmaceutical giant CSL to ensure it builds a state-of-the-art vaccine plant in Melbourne to shore up supply lines of critical goods.
And there can be few more critical than those that apply to vaccines.
But there may be questions about which company builds such a secure facility. Last year, Victorian construction company ProBuild won a contract to build CSL's Melbourne headquarters. In October, the company's South African owner confirmed it was selling ProBuild. 9 News understands that proposed sale is to China State Construction Engineering, and the bid is awaiting Foreign Investment Review Board approval. But today, the focus was elsewhere.
Ensuring we have secure supply chains in critical areas.
Chris Ullman, 9 News.
A rocky day on the Australian share market. The ASX was forced to shut down after the worst technical glitch recorded since 2016. Trading was abandoned at 3 p.m. after the index froze just before 10:30 a.m. and stayed that way. There's hope trading will start up again as normal at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Climate change protesters have chained themselves to posts in the middle of the southeastern freeway, with police forced to intervene. The dangerous demonstration disrupting traffic and leaving motorists fuming, but the activists say they have no regrets.
A high-risk stunt in the middle of a busy freeway cut to an end by police, forced to carry one of the protesters away.
We're not planning to go anywhere. We're going to stay here until people hear what we're saying.
The 2 Extinction Rebellion activists dressed as koalas chained themselves to light posts near the Hyson tunnels. The peak hour protest happening at 8 a.m, slowing the commute on both sides of the freeway, leaving motorists fuming.
Been getting a few abusive shout-outs from drivers.
Police arrived at the scene within half an hour and tried to talk the protesters out of the dangerous act.
They may have an accident, they may crash into one of your people over there, or they may crash into one of my colleagues, OK?
But the activists refused to step down.
Coming with an angle grinder by the looks to cut us off.
The demonstration live streamed as part of Extinction Rebellion's campaign to get the federal government to act now on climate change.
We're using koalas, they're an icon of Australia, and climate change is making it impossible for koalas to exist as a species.
No one was arrested as a result of the dangerous stunt. However, police did issue the 2 men with on-the-spot fines. A driver was also fined for stopping on the freeway. Despite being hit with a $395 penalty, the activists say the demonstration was worth it.
100% glad I did it, 100% gonna do it again.
Jessica Stanley, 9 News.
Police have released CCTV of 2 men. They're hunting over a break-in at a northern suburbs hotel. The pair can be seen climbing over the counter of the Somerset Hotel at Para Hills. One of the offenders appears to fall as he makes his way into the bar area. The men then steal several bottles of alcohol before leaving. The theft happened around 2 a.m. on April 4 this year. Anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
An electrical fault is believed to have sparked a fire which destroyed a truck in Mansfield Park overnight. Emergency crews were called to the scene on the corner of Grand Junction Road and Richard Street just after 3 a.m. It's not being treated as suspicious.
Pieces of Adelaide's proud Grand Prix history are being auctioned off this week. The 2 sets of number plates were produced in 1985 to celebrate the first year Adelaide hosted the event. Bearing the numbers 1 and 2, they've been owned by the same person since the beginning. Each set is expected to sell for over $100,000.
Well, we have a whole week of near uninterrupted spring sunshine on the forecast. Jessica Braithwaite, we saw plenty of that sun today.
We did, Brenton. I mean, it was certainly a lot cooler today than yesterday. Like yesterday, we were up around 38 degrees in the city, and today we were around 21 degrees. So the change came through, but we got away with it pretty well. It wasn't too windy, and in fact, we had lots of sunshine around today, even with those cooler conditions. Now, from here, we've got a high moving in. It's going to warm things up for us for the next few days. In fact, by the middle of the week, we're going to be back up into the mid-30s, and I'll bring you the forecast soon.
Great, Jessica. We'll see you soon. The latest on South Australia's rapidly changing coronavirus crisis is up next. And also ahead, we'll break down the reimposed restrictions for South Australians. Stay with us.
Sunday, it's auction day.
Australia, this is it.
On television's biggest night of the year.
It's over to you, guys. I'm in your hands.
5 incredible family homes go under the hammer.
Sold.
Who
Yes!
will
Third and final call.
win TV's biggest prize?
What just happened?
The Block Grand Finale Auction. Sunday, 7 o'clock on 9.
Let's compare health insurance. You might even save some money. Okay, I'll do it. Take the out of saving. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect.
For me, the best ham this Christmas has to be Coles award-winning Aussie ham. 100% sow stall free from farmers like Brett Edson.
Coles Beechwood smoked half-leg ham, just $9 a kilo.
Or for a real crowd pleaser, try Coles' famous crackling ham. Crackling outside, juicy ham inside.
Coles crackling ham voted product of the year, just $20 a kilo.
I believe pork that's raised better, tastes better. Coles, value the Australian way.
Summer in Australia. Heat and sweat aggravate dandruff and itch. I recommend Head & Shoulders. More effective than our regular shampoo, Head & Shoulders provides up to 100% dandruff protection. I recommend Head & Shoulders.
Food supports local Aussie growers and is proudly Australian owned. Their chef-inspired ready-made meals are created with the freshest of ingredients and delivered to your door nationwide. Try 7 meals for $55 today.
Welcome, Truth Seekers, to the Truth Seekers channel. I'll see you on the other side.
I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years.
Hello, ghosts.
At Australian Outdoor Living, we know how special home is. Our quality outdoor home improvements bring your backyard dreams to life. Put your home in hands you can trust.
Australian Outdoor Living.
I fantasize about this back in Chicago.
Australia's sinking home scandal. Angry families blame council over a faulty stormwater pipe for destroying their houses. A current affair next.
Returning now to South Australia's new coronavirus threat, and as we go to air tonight, SA health authorities are battling to prevent a cluster of COVID-19 cases in Adelaide from becoming a second wave. It's already been linked to schools, aged care, shops and medical facilities. Edward Godfrey is live at Parafield where hundreds of people have flocked to get tested. Edward, what's the latest there on case numbers?
Brenton, it's a number. Right now, there are 17 confirmed cases in this Parafield cluster and well over 100 people are in quarantine. All of this after the infection was somehow carried from a quarantine hotel in the heart of the city.
It's fair to say that we are now facing our biggest test to date, but we can and we must rise to this new challenge. We have world-leading health experts and world-leading systems that have helped keep South Australia safe and strong. I want to assure all South Australians that we are working around the clock to stay ahead of this cluster. No effort will be spared to slow and stop the spread.
Where I am is the location of a testing station open in response to this cluster. We've seen hundreds of people lining up here throughout the day, and it's been like this at other locations across Adelaide too, as people do their bit to try and prevent a second wave by getting tested. So far, this cluster has affected 3 schools, 2 closed because a student is a confirmed case, while another primary and junior primary has been closed as a precaution. As well as that, 2 staff members from a Western Suburbs aged care facility have tested positive. That facility is now in lockdown and families are worried about the implications of those positive results. Right across the northern and western suburbs, various shops, medical facilities, cafes and restaurants have been closed or are the subject of alerts because people linked to the cluster have been there. The concerns also extend to various bus services running between the city and Adelaide's north. Kate, the advice tonight is if you have symptoms, come to places like this and get tested.
Edward, thank you. And the threat of the second wave has prompted immediate restrictions. Georgia Westgarth, when will they be imposed?
Well, Kate, from midnight tonight, new or returning rules will be imposed and they will affect us all. Gyms will close, so too leisure centres and play cafes, but outdoor boot camps will still go ahead. Community sport competition, including kids sport, will be suspended for the time being, just as it returned to normal. SA Health taking no chances at venues too. Public gatherings at places like pubs capped at 100, church services also at 100 and few funerals will be limited to 50 from midnight, and that means a big impact on businesses like the pub here that's already had to cut shifts this weekend. And Brenton, people are being urged to work from home if they can.
Good advice, Georgia, thank you. And we'll have continuing coverage of the COVID-19 situation here in South Australia in Nine's Late News coming up tonight at 11:30. Overseas now, and for the first time, Donald Trump has acknowledged Joe Biden won the US election. But the president insists he's not conceding, hitting the golf course and his social media accounts.
Donald Trump doing what he loves, golfing at his club in Virginia. His group all wearing Trump hats aboard the buggy, the president putting his phone down to tee off after some telling tweets. He won because the election was rigged. No vote watchers or observers allowed. Vote tabulated by a radical left privately owned company, Dominion, with a bad reputation and bum equipment that couldn't even qualify for Texas.
I think that's the start of an acknowledgement.
For a brief moment, the country thought he was conceding before Mr Trump tweeted again, rigged election, we will win. And another, he only won in the eyes of the fake news media. I concede nothing. We have a long way to go. This was a rigged election.
Is the president right now in this tweet conceding this election?
No, far from it. What he's saying is more, I guess you'd call it sarcastic.
Mr Trump's former national security advisor is now urging Republican leaders to speak up.
To explain to our voters, who are not as stupid as the Democrats think, that in fact Trump has lost the election and that his claims of election fraud are baseless.
Each state now has to make Joe Biden's victory official by certifying their election results before December 14. That's when the Electoral College meets for the final step, formalising the outcome. Plenty of time, according to Donald Trump's legal team, to successfully challenge it.
The president pursuing legal fights as over 1,000 Americans die of coronavirus daily, a 50% jump in the last month. In Washington, D.C., Alexis Daish, 9 News.
Boris Johnson is back in isolation after coming into contact with someone who tested positive to COVID-19 last week. In a tweet, the British Prime Minister said he was contacted by the country's Test and Trace program, but is not showing any symptoms. Johnson says he plans to continue working from Downing Street remotely. Liftoff for SpaceX with 4 astronauts on board. The historic moment and its link to Australia is coming up next. And also ahead, the flying kangaroo hits an historic milestone.
Inside Cottage 3, Australia's nursing home disgrace. The damning document confirming an outbreak of scabies. A current affair next.
I'm borrowing a car.
Introducing the new Lexus IS. With reimagined design for enhanced drivability, you'll always move as one.
Let me be great, let me be witty, let me be so ditty in every state and city. How about let you do a double take? I don't need your money, I don't need your credit. I'm a superwoman, I let you watch me fade.
La 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 la. 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 La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
At Australian Outdoor Living, we know how special home is. Our quality outdoor home improvements bring your backyard dreams to life. Put your home in hands you can trust.
Introducing new Fairy Easy Spray. For stuck-on grease, just spray Fairy Easy Spray and grease melts away. You can also use it for an easy clean on different kitchen surfaces and items too. Switch to Fairy.
Enjoy more family time this summer. Take the night off with Hungry Jack's Family Bundle. 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 drinks, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95 at Hungry Jack's.
Next time you're on your bike, remember,
there's a lot riding on it.
The St John Christmas Home Lottery is back and it's bigger than ever. With 3 homes and over 30,000 prizes, there's a 1 in 5 chance of winning a prize. This week's weekly prize is the big one. Buy your ticket before midnight Sunday to be in the draw to win this $1.3 million beach house on the Esplanade at Semaphore. Imagine waking up to this beautiful view every day. So support St John SA and buy your ticket today.
Welcome, Truth Seekers, to the Truth Seekers channel. I'll see you on the other side.
I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years.
Hello, ghosts.
Tomorrow, what does the latest COVID outbreak mean for South Australians? Will the borders slam shut once again?
Plus, she's the queen of country, a rolled gold legend. I catch up with the extraordinary Dolly Parton. We'll see you from 5:30.
NASA's first fully fledged expedition with a privately owned spacecraft has launched into history 9 years after the last shuttle lifted off from American soil. 4 astronauts have been sent into orbit aboard the SpaceX-designed capsule, and the milestone mission has a special Aussie connection.
It's a new beginning for America's space program and a replacement for the shuttle, a SpaceX rocket taking 4 crew members to the International Space Station.
And resilience rises.
It was a perfect nighttime launch, watched by a small crowd, including Vice President Mike Pence. And significant because now NASA is partnering with private enterprise. In this case, Tesla creator Elon Musk's SpaceX Corporation. He builds the rockets, and NASA now pays him for the ride into space.
It's been 18 years working towards this goal, so it's hard to believe that it's happened.
The pandemic has become a major threat to the project, while SpaceX tried to keep the huge engineering and flight team healthy.
I think all of us can agree that 2020 has certainly been a challenging year. Global pandemic, economic hardships, civil unrest, isolation.
The one woman on board is Shannon Walker, the wife of Australian former astronaut Andy Thomas, and he was there today to farewell her. Well on its way into space, the Falcon rockets, having done their job, dropped away, and another spectacular achievement, both floating back to land on barges off the Florida coast. In many ways, it's just the start of a new era for US space exploration. There are plans to return to the moon by 2024, and eventually human exploration on Mars. In Los Angeles, Robert Penfold, 9 News.
And in skies closer to home, Qantas will mark a special milestone this evening with Australia's flagship airline turning 100 years old. CEO Alan Joyce says it's a particularly special achievement after 95% of its fleet was grounded this year due to the pandemic.
There has been no tougher year for aviation this year. 95% of the world's fleet has been grounded. Aviation has taken a massive hit that we've never seen before. Qantas has had its aircraft grounded. We've had to stand down at one stage over 25,000 of our people.
The Flying Kangaroo will celebrate with a low-level 100-minute flight over Sydney Harbour at sunset.
A fitting tribute. Warren Treadray joined us now with sport after the break. Now, Treadray, still some big decisions to be made at West Lakes.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just got through the trade period. Now they've got some massive calls to make on their list because they face possibly their best draft hand they've ever had heading to the draft. And have that story coming up straight after the break, and we'll tell you which way the club is leaning as it eyes another father-son pick and the Arizona Cardinals' incredible last-second play that sinks the Bills.
Australia's sinking home scandal. Angry families blame council over a faulty stormwater pipe for destroying their houses. A current affair next.
I'd like a bar of chocolate, please. Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
A scent can leave a lasting impression, and this one is only $95.
Not a Chemist Warehouse, it's not.
Stop paying too much for big brand fragrances like Hugo Boss Bottled 100ml $49.99 or Narcisco Rodriguez 100ml $89.99. For the biggest range of big brand fragrances, shop at Chemist Warehouse and stop paying too much.
For real change to happen, we need to roll up our sleeves and get dirty. And we're changing too. At Omo, our bottles are 100% recyclable and now boosted with naturally derived stain removers. Omo, tough on stains, kinder to the planet.
Babe, but aren't we trying to save?
It was nothing.
This year, your Telstra Plus points can help make gifting more affordable.
We all know SA quality home improvements for carports, verandas, patios and much more. But they're also experts in re-roofing. Whatever the style of your home, there is a true oak roof from the Nexstar Australis series to suit. SA quality home improvements will re-roof your home for a great price. Plus, the first 20 buyers get roof insulation blanket free. Call or go online to book now. SA quality home improvements. The home improvement specialists.
SA quality home improvements.
What a day. Gotta sweat it out. Let the pressure out. Push on. Come on. Tomorrow, bring it on. Ion 4 Hydration. Powerade.
Air conditioning installation from $499. Simply purchase a selected inverter split system from your local Harvey Norman, Domain or Joyce Main store, and Advanced One Air Conditioning and Electrical Services will install that system in your home from $499. Stay cool this summer. Purchase a selected inverter split system from any one of these great stores, and Advanced One Air Conditioning and Electrical Services will install it in your home from just $499. Terms and conditions apply. See advancedone.com.au.
The state government's record infrastructure investment is creating more jobs, providing world-class facilities for our kids, building new schools, and connecting every school to high-speed internet. We're building what matters. Authorised by the Government of South Australia, Adelaide.
Tonight, I'll be eating a veggie burger with crispy bacon and some nuggets. Thank you.
Well, let's get started, shall we?
Okay, but no eye contact, please.
Get ready, Australia. Oh my goodness! For the final epic battle.
Coach has flown!
State of Origin, the decider, Wednesday.
The Adelaide Crows are tonight closing in on a decision on whether to pursue potential father-son selection. Luke Edwards, son of Tyson. And Tom Wren, you've got some mail as to which way the club is leaning.
Well, Treaders, at this stage, I think it's fair to say it is far from a done deal or far from a certainty that they will take him as a selection as a father's son. Now, the Crows have until Friday to lodge paperwork with the AFL to register their interest in selecting him as a father-son selection. If they don't do that, he's going to be fair game for every club at next month's draft. Now, Nine News does understand that the club will meet Luke and his family in the coming days, so a decision on what they do with him is imminent, bearing in mind no father-son selection in the past has actually played a senior game for the football club. Now, someone who won't be at the club in 2021 is dual Norm Smith medalist Andrew McLeod. He's been an assistant with the women's side, but that role is set to cease. He's going to concentrate on his business interests, bearing in mind McLeod was very vocal about the club's culture a little bit earlier this year. However, someone who will be coming on is another favourite son, Scott Thompson. He's set to assist Matthew Clark with the women's team in the midfield, so that's a great appointment there. And another current player who's going to help out with the women's forward line is Tom Lynch, so he's also set to help out as an assistant. Treaders, it's mid-November, but there is still plenty of football news bubbling about.
Absolutely, Tom Wren there with the latest footy news. Well, the damage control continues at Collingwood with a contrite Nathan Buckley conceding that he and the club could have handled their trade dealings better, admitting he did push his star players out the door.
We had to. This was the time that we needed to stop pushing our pain into the future and take it all in one gulp now.
Jaden Stevenson turning out in his new colours today, admitting he now has a point to prove.
Certainly put a little chip on my shoulder and a lot of motivation to get out there and work hard. And I think there's a difference between what you need to work on and being traded. I'm really looking forward to the time comes when we get to play Collingwood.
Stevenson also encouraging North Melbourne to appoint Collingwood assistant Robert Harvey as its new coach. American Dustin Johnson has shot an incredible course record 20 under to take out the US Masters, and he needed to. Aussie Cameron Smith setting a benchmark of his own, becoming the first golfer in history to shoot 4 straight rounds in the 60s at Augusta.
Cameron Smith. 4 shots back in the final round, Cameron Smith needed a strong start, and he got it by birdieing holes 2 and 3. Great shot. A bogey on the 5th was rectified by another birdie on 7 with an all-or-nothing shot through the trees.
Oh, that is unbelievable.
Then following that up with a 9-iron from the Pine Needles to cut a 3-under front 9.
He has done it again.
This could be really good.
But his run stalled with a bogey on 11, allowing Dustin Johnson to extend his lead by birdieing 3 holes on Amen Corner to finish 20 under par, 5 shots clear of Smith.
The long-awaited Masters has a long-awaited champion.
I'd take 15 under around here the rest of my career and I might win a couple.
The historic victory reducing Johnson to tears.
Jesus. Who gives it? Give me a talk.
Tiger Woods had trouble gathering himself on the golf course with a rare collapse on the par 3 12th.
Oh boy.
Hitting 3 balls in the water and ending up with his first ever 10 on his scorecard. While today ended in disappointment for Cameron Smith, he and the other Aussies will only have to wait 5 months for another chance at a green jacket, with the Masters set to return to its regular date in April next year. At Augusta National, Tim Arvia, 9 News.
The Big Bash will be spiced up this season with 3 new rules. There'll be a bonus point for the side in front after 10 overs, a 2-over power surge or power play for the batting team, and substitutes called X-Factor players. Heat coach Darren Lehman, already a big fan.
If you're batting first and you're 4 for not many, you need the extra batter, you have to sub a bowler out, which will allow you to get a bigger total as such, which will keep the game a bit closer. So it's a really interesting one, that one.
The batsman can only be substituted before he bats, while a bowler can only be removed as long as he hasn't bowled more than 1 over. Despite already receiving attention from NBA scouts, 36ers prodigy Josh Giddey says he's been working hard to stay grounded. The 18-year-old today acting as the club's poster boy, modelling new uniforms and admitting it's not always easy to block out the outside noise.
I mean, it is tough because, as I said, I do see it all and I read about it, but just trying not to let it influence me, not trying to let it get to my head, which is, at times it's tough because, you know, every teenage kid likes to see their name, you know, coming up on social media.
Giddey impressive in the team's back-to-back pre-season wins over Brisbane, the NBL using the games to trial COVID-safe protocols. Lewis Hamilton has claimed his 7th Formula One Drivers' Championship, drawing level with the great Michael Schumacher. Hamilton came from 6th on the grid to win the Turkish Grand Prix, sealing his place in history.
I think my whole life secretly probably have dreamt as high as this.
Meanwhile, in the MotoGP ranks, Aussie Jack Miller finished 2nd in Valencia, and although Joan Mir was 7th, it was enough for him to clinch the world crown and celebrate in front of the virtual crowd. And a miracle finish in the NFL. Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray throwing up a prayer with this side trailing in the final minutes.
Murray heaves it downfield. It is caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic.
Star receiver DeAndre Hopkins plucking the Hail Mary out of triple coverage and just 1 second on the clock. The touchdown securing a dramatic win over Buffalo. That was AFL. That's called a contested mark. That's
there you
sport.
go. Thanks so much, Treaders. Well, the weather details are coming up right after the break. But first, here's a look at tomorrow's speed cameras.
Tune into the 5AA Breakfast Show tomorrow from 6 a.m. for breaking news, weather and traffic in and around Adelaide.
Inside Cottage 3, Australia's nursing home disgrace. The damning document confirming an outbreak of scabies. A current affair next.
Together we can do anything. Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty. It's just a thing of beauty.
Craving adventure? Portuguese-style chicken, flame grilled, 100% flavor, 100% Australian chicken, made fresh every day. Adventure awaits.
'Twas way before Christmas, but one thing was clear. They were at it already, just like every year. Usually met with eye rolls and... This year was different. Still kitsch, but there was hope. A hope for good tidings for all those in need, and a reason to celebrate, to smile and to feed. And though we might wish some troubles had missed us, if there's one thing that's certain, it's that nothing stops Christmas.
Three out of 4 women recommended Dove antiperspirant, like Jessica.
Is it moisturising? Tick. They're feeling super soft. I've been fresh all day long, even after the gym.
Would you switch?
I am making the switch to Dove.
Maltesers, the lighter way to enjoy chocolate.
There's never been a better time to holiday at home and explore South Australia than right now. The all-new 2020 SA Let's Go Caravan and Camping Almanac has everything you need to know. A new, bigger guide to 12 glorious regions to stay and play, and trustworthy locations for accessories and services. The 2020 Almanac is made by South Australians for travelling in South Australia. It's free when you order online. Holiday at home with Caravan and Camping SA.
I had this idea of perfect life. That's what I thought I had.
Grace, she was found dead.
Why were you there that night?
I'm just gonna tell the truth.
But what is your truth?
Our bodies put up with so much, from managing work days to juggling family life. That's why we take care of ourselves with Healthy Care.
Spend $20 on any Healthy Care products and then you go in the draw to win $20,000 and a styling session with us.
Murder, mysterious death,
Adultery. Extraterrestrial activity.
What more could you want?
Midsummer Murders, tonight on 9Jam.
Hi there. Well, we had a cooler day across the city and it's certainly starting to cool off around the city now. It's around 17 degrees. That was after our top of 21 degrees earlier this afternoon, but there was still plenty of sunshine, even if it was, a lot different to yesterday. Yesterday was 38 degrees. So quite a big temperature drop. You would have felt it even more so if you live in the hills. At Mount Lofty, we only made it to 16 degrees today. But most of the rest of our suburbs were just sitting quite nicely in the low 20s. It was a little bit windy when that change came through, particularly in the earlier hours of this morning, like around 2, 3 a.m. But it wasn't, too full on. And we saw that across the rest of the state as well. We've certainly seen the temperatures fall, those winds flicking around coming through from the south now. So Kadina got to 22 degrees today. Clare made 21, and around Whyalla and Ceduna we were around 21 degrees as well. And you can see some cooler temperatures through the south too. Mount Gambier sitting in the high teens there, and Kingscote made 23. But we got away with it pretty well in terms of a change. It wasn't one of the craziest ones we've seen. And now we have this high pressure system moving in, so that's going to filter a lot of warmer air over us for the rest of the week, and we will notice temperatures warming up. The change is pushing off towards the eastern states. So Sydney, for example, was really hot today, they'll get that change and then they'll cool to 21 degrees tomorrow. And we've already got these cooler temperatures through Melbourne and Hobart, sitting sort of in the high teens around that 20-degree mark. For our north tomorrow, quite a nice little gentle lift with those temperatures. We've got 26 degrees on the way for Whyalla, 29 at Port Pirie and 25 at Maitland. Through the south, it's also looking dry, plenty of sunshine around, temperatures sitting in the mid-20s. We've got Keith going for 26 degrees and Murray Bridge expecting around 27 degrees. The same goes for Renmark, staying dry there too. All looking pretty calm on our waters. We've got variable winds to around 10 knots and seas to around a metre. And across our suburbs, sitting very nicely in the mid-20s. We've got 25 for Golden Grove and 24 degrees on the way for Marion. In the city, we're also expecting that top of 25 degrees. Sunny conditions, nothing really to worry about there. After that, we take a little step up with our temperatures. We've got 32 degrees on the way for Wednesday and Thursday, rounding out the week on 27 degrees. Saturday looks warm with 33 degrees. The only thing is, if you're after some rain for the garden, maybe on Sunday, but I can't even promise that, guys.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. That's all from the 9 News team for now.
But we will bring you further updates across the evening before 9's late news at 11:30. Now, though, it's over to a current affair. Good night.